Are you averse to paying taxes, especially property taxes here in Houston or Texas in general? Then this video is for you. My name is Mariam Hejazi. I've been helping people buy and sell residential real estate for over 12 years, and I've been loving Houston since 1987. Let's get into it. So taxes are inevitable, especially if you already live in Texas or you are moving to Texas because we have property taxes in Texas. And we are not unique, but I know that not every state in the US has property taxes. Now, we do not have state income tax, but we do have a property tax. So this obviously only applies to you if you are a property owner. Now, if you want to be strategic about taxes for property, there are parts of the city that have lower tax rates than all of the rest, and I don't really know why. I just can tell you what they are generally in different pockets of town. I can tell you though, as a general trend, the older the property or the older the neighborhood and the older the part of town, the earlier it was developed, usually the lower the tax rate. So I'm going to go over the map with you and show you and highlight all of the different tax rates. Now, this is not tax amount, this is tax rate, and this is the rate at which you are taxed on whatever property value your house has. And the value is determined by the county. You have the right to refute or challenge your property value or your valuation every year, and that only comes around in the spring of every year. But HCAD, or the Houston Harris County Appraisal District, they set your value, and of course you can definitely challenge this, but you only get one opportunity a year. And even if you don't think you have a case, I think that you should definitely at least protest your taxes every year. And if you have a very complex case, or if you have a very expensive property, it is worth hiring a law firm that specializes in tax protest. So let's go over the map, and I can tell you what parts of town have the lowest tax amounts in Houston. Hello, and welcome back to Miriam's Map of Houston. Alrighty, hopefully my map will cooperate today. So here is the general area that we're going to talk about. If you are in the suburbs, your tax rates are definitely going to differ from this. Your tax rate could be as high as 3.8 in some of the newest developments in like Cypress, Tomball, and Magnolia. You could be in a PID, which is called a public improvement district. That could be an extra taxable amount. So this video is really, we're gonna concentrate on like all here. If you want information on other tax rates, you can email me or leave me a comment and I can look it up for you. So firstly, we are gonna start in Bel Air. So Bel Air, the average tax rate is 1.9, and yes, I took notes because I'm not a robot. Now 1.9 as your rate is actually going to be one of the lowest tax rates in all of Harris County. Bel Air is going to be right neck and neck with West U, which is just right here. So Bel Air, the price points that we're going to talk, or that we're talking, you're going to be looking at anywhere from like 700 to 2.2 or 2.3 in Bel Air. And so your tax rate is going to be about 1.9%. And then in West U, your tax rate is going to be anywhere from 1.8 to 1.9. And starting, you're going to be looking at about 1.3 million to get into West U, going all the way up to 3.5, just depending on the type of build, the finishes, and the lot size. So Bel Air, West U, anywhere between 1.8 and 1.9, but if you want the 1.8, it's going to be West U. Now we're going to go over here to Rice University, and this is Southgate. And Southgate is about, hold on, let me see here, 2.09. Anywhere from 2.01 to 2.09 is going to be all of like this rice area. So we're looking at Wessex, Southgate, Windermere, even up here, you're ranging anywhere from 2.01 to 2.09. And as we move up into Montrose, our general tax rate, even in historic places like Audubon Place and Cortlandt Place, we're looking at about 2.01. Now, as we go up, this little area is going to run you about 2.01% here. We're going to go up into the Heights. Woodland Heights is going to run you about 2.09. Same with the other historic portions of the Heights, like Sunset and Norhill, is all going to run you about 2.09, and the same as the rest of the general Heights. This is called like the Greater Heights. This is going to run you about 2.09, and same with Lazy Brook and Timber Grove. Over here. This is going to run you also 2.09. Now let's come over to the villages. And I say the villages because there are several villages, and they are their own little cities. They have their own police and courthouse. So Hunters Creek Village, Bunker Hill Village, there's Hillshire Village, Spring Valley Village, and Piney Point Village. So Bunker Hill down here is going to run you 1.95, and Hunters Creek over here is 1.9. Now Hillshire Village is up here. It runs you 2.08. So far, the cheapest of the villages as far as tax rate is 1.9 to 1.95. Now Spring Valley Village runs you 2.08 or 2.009. And then Spring Branch, so we're going to come over here to kind of like, so this was developed after this over here, and it's crazy because over here our general tax rate is 2.08, and just like a mile and a half, 2 miles away, this jumps up to 2.2 to 2.3. So all of this right here is anywhere from 2.2 to 2.3, which is still below the general average of 2.53, which is what I typically see most when I'm looking at properties. So we're still below average, but quite the change from one of the villages right over to Spring Branch. Now we're going to come down here to Piney Point, and we are looking at 1.89. So out of all of the villages, Piney Point Village is actually has the lowest tax rate at 1.89, along with Bunker Hill Village and Hunters Creek. They're at the 1.9. So we're just talking about a small difference, but everything matters. And then over here in the villages, you're looking at least 1.7 all the way up to 15 million, just depending on, again, the type of house and the lot size in the area. Up here, you're looking anywhere from like 1.3 to like 2 maybe. Now there are like more affordable options, and especially this little pocket here has some original 1940s and 50s houses that have not been demoed or redone, but they are getting way more few and far between as we progress in years. Now we're gonna go a little bit south over here. We're gonna come back kind of full circle over here to like the Meyerland, Westbury area. Maplewood is also great. Maplewood is 2.09, so similar to the Heights. Now Westbury is 2.1, And we really go between 2.09 and 2.1, which is about the same. And Memorial, just as a general statement, sorry, I'm jumping all over here, but I promise I had a method. Now, Memorial over here, the average that I'm seeing is 2.2. And then Walnut Bend, which is all right here, we're looking at 2.09. So a little bit higher tax rate over here, a little bit lower over here, nice and low here, but if you can, the taxes probably aren't going to be a huge issue if you can afford any of the villages, because we're talking multi-millions in the villages. This will run you anywhere from about $550 all the way to about $1.2 million. Same thing over here. And then Memorial is going to be anywhere from probably $650 all the way up to about 1.7. Again, just dependent upon the house that you had built. Now, these areas of town were definitely developed, obviously, before over here, because in Houston, our development runs from downtown out. So the further you are, or the closer you are to downtown, usually the older your development. Now, you could live in a brand new house by downtown, or all in these the Montrose, Midtown, River Oaks area. You could definitely live in a new house, but it would have been an area that was developed in the 20s to 40s, rather than over here. This portion of town was not developed until the 50s. And so I don't really know the rhyme or reason behind why different areas have certain tax rates. Now, certainly school districts go into that. Any type of improvement districts go into that. I think city versus unincorporated definitely has something to do with it. Now, these villages are their own little cities, so Houston didn't get to dictate their tax rate, if I understand correctly. Now, what I did find very interesting is there are a couple historic districts. Well, actually, there's 22 total in Houston. If you've been watching my videos, you should know that. But there are two little portions over here, Shady Side, that I found very interesting. The last two sales that have occurred in the last 5 years, built in 1939 and built in 1926, like shockingly, their tax rate is 2.5. So that's a way older development with a higher tax rate. So I'm not sure exactly the rationale behind the tax rate. I can just tell you what they are. And of course, I am not an expert in tax rates. This is all information that I have obtained through the Houston Association MLS. And of course, you need to independently verify the tax rate of the specific house you are looking at. I am just here to educate you on the general tax rates of certain parts of town, should that make a difference to you, because some people really do want to concentrate in the lower tax rates. I have had clients before, when they see the tax rate in a certain area, they exit out of their search. I have seen tax rates as high as 3.6 and 3.8, which is so expensive. So expensive. So, you just have to decide what is important to you, and taxes are never going to go away, and your value is usually always going to appreciate over time. So the county is always going to start inching your value up as you progress in time, or you move forward in time. So tax rate could actually become very important as your property appreciates. If you found this video helpful, please share with a friend. And if you are doing research ahead of a big move or a move within Houston, I would be honored at a chance to earn your business. My name is Mariam Hejazi. I've been helping people buy and sell residential real estate for over 12 years, and I've been loving Houston since 1987. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.